Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr, and this is episode 99, The Last Zombie Hunter, Part 9. And after the last episode, Fred and Mackenzie had a very close call while trying to get some supplies, and they barely made it. Well, they had a very close call and then made it back to their house, to their home. And that's where it picks up today. So if you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, cryptobiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And here we go. After a short time, I said to Mackenzie, who was stretched out on the sofa, "You still want to do the water run? We're low now, but I can do one myself today, and you can catch the next one." She just lay still for a minute. I let her. No, I'd like to come. And I know we need to go fairly soon, but can we wait just a few minutes? I'd like to get the adrenaline out of my system. Sure thing, Mac. I went to the kitchen, poured myself a cup of bleachy water, and put the food away. I left a can of olives on the counter. "That was pretty awful," I said. "Are you okay?" "As much as I can be," she said. Her voice was a little wooden, which worried me. "You thought she was someone you knew for a second there, didn't you? Julie, I think you said?" Shit, I thought. I didn't remember saying her name out loud. "Yeah, but it wasn't her." "So who is Julie?" "She's the one who thought she would be around long enough to need supplies." Oh. Mackenzie didn't seem to know what to say to that. Clearly she understood Julie had been out of my life for some time, but she also knew Julie was almost certainly dead or undead. "Well, wherever you are, thank you, Julie. Do you still carry a torch for her?" I wasn't aware that 12-year-olds knew that phrase. I'm well read, and you didn't answer the question. "Do you consider it your business?" "Not really. But if it's going to be trouble, then it might become my business." "It won't be trouble." "And no, I'm not carrying a torch for Julie. I hadn't thought about her for years until you discovered her pads. Though I admit, knowing she had a stash here made me a little wistful." "That seems fair to me," Mackenzie said, still lying on the couch, saying it to the blank ceiling. "How about we make a toast to not Julie, who didn't make it today?" I asked. "Yeah," she replied, "that would be a nice thing to do." "With what, our bleach water?" "How about with olives instead?" I like that idea. We ate olives off of our fingertips like preschoolers, and gave praise to not Julie, whose name we would never know. After so many weeks and weeks of dried food, eating something out of a can, something wet and nearly alive, was delightful. I slowly savored the salty taste, the soft, yielding texture. This is where we are different, I thought. We can enjoy our food. They can only eat it and want more eternally. I didn't say it to Mac, though. Too morbid. Though maybe she was thinking it too. She grew very quiet. We ate the entire can. I wasn't sure if that was smart. It was more food than we are now used to eating at one time. But I felt great. I saved the juice. With no refrigeration, we would need to use it soon. I had some tough bread, practically hardtack, and thought that soaking it in a little olive juice might be good tomorrow. It was nice thinking about tomorrow. But that couldn't last. We needed to get out there and retrieve some water. "Ready?" I said. "Soon," she said, but she also nodded. Within a few minutes, we were heading out. We put the ladder up as high as it could be so Mac could still reach it. I had created a small cover for it to make it less obvious if a human came by. I still wasn't happy with her new water jug-carrying rig, but it would have to do. If it failed, mine had all the water from a regular run anyway. And also if it failed, I could see where it could be improved. We made our way, mostly through trees with occasional houses and other buildings. We took it slow. I was constantly reminding myself to keep careful, keep my eyes and ears sharp. We saw no zombies on the way to the creek. None of them around, Mackenzie said. Yeah, maybe they got all pulled over to the grocery store and are still that way. I'd told her about my usual procedure, and she was glad to see that she had paid attention. We put our rigs behind the rock near the edge of the creek, then headed upstream to make sure the waters were clear. It all looked good, so we headed back. We swam around in our clothes, both of us nervously watching every direction. Still, I was happy to get one set of clothes a bit cleaner, and I'm sure Mackenzie felt that way too. Perhaps next time we could also bring extra sets of clothing to at least give a cursory wash. I even had some liquid soap we could bring. The water felt perfect, cool and soothing. In a life made rough by rough living, it was a form of relief. I could feel my muscles in my back and my neck unclenching. I was a fool. I let my mind relax, let go. I should have heard it first. Instead, Mackenzie was suddenly beside me and was tugging on my arm. I looked over at her, and her face was frozen in fear. Then I heard it, too. It was the moans of zombies, perhaps hundreds of them, and they were getting louder. Usually that would also mean a human victim running, screaming ahead of them. But I heard nothing of that kind. Perhaps they were chasing someone brave. It wouldn't save them. I took Mackenzie and we swam to the part of the creek that was shielded by the boulders. Our rigs and a few other items were on shore, but it couldn't be helped. I whispered a reminder of what our strategy was. The zombies weren't good swimmers and seemed to have poor eyesight, so we would quietly go to the middle of the creek, showing as little as possible above the waterline, and if they came in after us, we would swim downstream. We had no food at all with us, so hopefully, even if the horde was really big and came close to our rigs, they would be untouched. Not that I had proven or disproven the notion that they might eat things other than people. The horde swarmed into view. As I feared, they were running along the same side of the creek that we had been on. This could mean this was the same horde as the grocery store, I thought. The creek was fairly deep in the middle. I could just touch my toes to the bottom. Mackenzie, about a head shorter, was holding on to me to keep afloat. She was shivering, but didn't make a sound. I was proud of her. They galloped by, moaning, filling our ears with their filthy voices. We slowly edged a bit back towards the far bank, but I didn't want to go where it wasn't deep, and I didn't want to have to watch behind us, not with so many dangers on one side. If it's too much, just look towards the bank behind us and keep watch, I whispered. She said nothing, but tore her gaze from the zombies and held me a little closer so she could look around me at the empty bank. This was all unusual. I'd seen a few groups not chasing prey, but this was the biggest that wasn't hunting someone down. What was different here? Then I saw it. People. People among the zombies. Not people recently zombified. People. They were herding the zombies. I felt Mackenzie stiffen and realized she must be looking back at the zombies and noticed the people too. I shushed her. Not that I think if she gasped or even cried out that her voice would be heard above the moans by human or zombie, but I couldn't take that chance. The humans, fortunately, seemed to be focused on the zombies. They seemed relatively clean, and they were even all wearing the same dark blue jackets. I didn't know what any of that meant. Eventually, the horde passed, as did the humans. "What was that?" Mackenzie said. "Don't know. I'm not sure if it even counts as good or bad news." Without saying anything else, we made our way to our water rigs. We made sure the water was ready, then, more paranoid than ever, made our way home. I think we were both in a bit of a daze as soon as we pulled up the ladders and closed the door behind us. They were herding the zombies. The zombies weren't attacking them. What the hell did it all mean? Could there be a fix for the zombies, making them harmless? Or were they controlling the zombies for their own purposes? If they were, what did that mean for Mackenzie and myself? We took care of the water and rested, and I wondered who those people were, and if we should reach out to them, or fear them. And that's the end of the episode for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, CryptoBiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And thanks for listening. Words and music, copyright 2019, CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.